very windy day, so please excuse the wind in the background. But this is actually recorded after all the shooting that I did with the reflex sight. So the Sightmark Core Shot A-Spec reflex sight with a QD mount. This right here is an open emitter, reflex sight. I like the really big viewing window. It's got a 5 MOA dot, and right now, as a matter of fact, in full sunlight, I only have it about half brightness, and I got a really precise dot. So this thing can get really bright, as a matter of fact. There's 8 brightness settings, and right now I'm at like 4 or 5. So if it was even brighter out here, which I don't know how that would be possible, I could turn it up, but I really like it at the halfway setting. So we're also out here to do a 36 yard zero and see how that does with a 10.5 inch barrel, because the 36 yard zero is usually done with a 16 inch barrel. So we're getting slightly different velocities, lower velocities with a 10.5. So we're just going to kind of find everything out together. And then later on in the video, I'm going to do a closer look up on the tabletop at the reflex sight here. So if you want to just go straight for the reflex sight, I'll leave a timestamp so you guys can skip ahead in the video if you just want to check out the sight itself. But if you want to see it in action, then stay tuned. So I just zeroed at 36 yards with this Sightmark Core Shot A-Spec reflex sight. That's a very long name, but with the plethora of red dots out on the market, I'm sure that companies are starting to run out of names. So I guess you gotta define your product any way you can. But anyways, this is a open emitter red dot, and for the longest time I was trying to go with the closed emitter red dot, something like, I think I had on here the Sig Romeo MSR, and I liked it, but it had a very small 20 millimeter viewing window. This has a very large viewing window, and that's what I really like about this about most open emitter sights, but specifically this one in particular. So it's a very large window, and I really like being able to see everything going on around me at all times. So yeah, and then I kind of splurged a little bit, spent the extra $20-$30 and got the quick detach mount. So we're going to kind of put some things to the test, but more specifically, since I just sighted it in at 36 yards, I'm going to test that out of a 10.5 inch barrel to see how much difference in elevation you get from 7 yards all the way out to 200 yards. It's pretty windy out here right now, if you guys can't tell. But I don't think the wind's going to really affect the, what we're trying to do out here. Mostly I'm just going for elevation. So windage wise, I'm not really going to worry about too much. But yeah, we'll go ahead and start at 7 yards and work our way out to 200. I'm only going to be doing 200 yards because that's what's practical for me. I don't really see myself using this rifle beyond 200 yards. So yeah, I just want to see the difference in elevation that we get with a 10.5 inch barrel using the 36 yard zero. So let's get to it. But first, I'm going to go ahead and confirm my 36 yard zero. And I think I just have 6 rounds left in this mag. So let's just go ahead and fire those 6 shots. I've got a 12 inch steel target down there. 12 inch target I think will be good for the 10.5 inch barrel. So let's get to it. Yep, that's all hitting dead center. All right. We're going to start at 7 yards. So I know I said 7 yards, but I just realized I'm shooting steel. So I'm going to start at 15 yards. All right. And by the way, we're shooting Sergeant Major Munition 223. I have a bunch of that stuff and I really like it, so that's what I'm sighting this rifle in with. A little bit to the right, but low. And that was dead center, but low. So let's push it back to, we'll do 25 yards now. All right, 25 yards. I think that's still slightly low, but that's kind of what you're going for. I'm still within the 2 to 3 inch group right here, so let's push it back to 50 yards. All right, so we're back at 50 yards and I've gone back to the table just so that I can get sort of as accurate as a shot as I can, so I can take out the variable of me being a bad shooter. Shooting a little high now, but I think that's to be expected. So we're gonna go back to 100 yards. All right, so we're back at 100 yards, and I think 36 yards and within, you're gonna see the point of impact drop a little bit, and then 36 yards and out to 150 yards, you're gonna see the elevation rise, and then I think from 150 back to 300, you're gonna see it come back down. So at 50 yards, the point of impact was slightly higher than the center of the target, and at 100 yards, I'm expecting to see it raise a little bit more. But I think with that 12-inch target, we should still be able to hit it. So let's give it a try. That was my bad. I was shooting a little high. Yep. So we're hitting pretty high. Let me take a look. Those were good shots. Yeah, we're hitting a little high, but we're still well within like a 6-inch group there. So I'm gonna push it back to 150. All right, we're out at 150 yards. This should be the highest that the elevation goes up. After 150, it should start to drop. So I'm just hoping that, I think that once we go out to 200, that it's really gonna be no problem to hit the target. But at 150, I'm not exactly sure. Because this is not a 16-inch barrel, it's 10.5. So we're kind of figuring this out together. So let's see if I can hit the target. I'm pretty sure I'll be able to hit it, but it's just a question of how high up it goes. Oh yeah, I turned this off. Let me turn it back on. Miss. That was a hit. All right. So I think that first shot I probably just might have aimed a little too high, but we're still on target. So I'm going to push it now out to the final distance, which will be 200 yards. 199.8. This is where I'm supposed to see the bullet drop a little bit. And again, 10.5-inch barrel. We're gonna find this out together. So let's go ahead and see how it does. was a hit. All right, let's do a couple more. That was my fault. Aim too low. I think I proved it. That 36 yard hold definitely, or 36 yard zero, definitely makes a lot of sense. So supposedly I'm supposed to be able to reach out to 300 yards with the 36 yard hold at about a 6-inch group. I just realized that after firing all these shots, it's going to be kind of difficult to tell exactly the size of the group that I just got. But when I moved it up there, I was able to see, the shots up to 150 yards, and it was within about an 8-inch group. But let's go ahead and take a look at the target and measure out at least what I think is the group that I got from the 2-shot, group increments, if that makes sense. Anyways, let's go up to the target. So the bulk of my shots are all right in here. When I was going a little trigger happy back there at 200 yards, I think some of the shots were hitting up, some were hitting low, some over here. So I'm not really going to count a lot of these shots. I think the bulk of the shots were all right here, which, if we look at the elevation, I mean, you're looking at about 7 inches, maybe even 6. So I think that even with the 10.5 inch barrel, the 36 yard zero is still going to get you about a 6 to 7 inch group. So yeah, that's pretty good. I wasn't really expecting, that kind of those kinds of results with not only a 10.5 inch barrel, but also really cheap Sergeant Major munition 223s. So yeah, that's where I'm probably going to keep this red dot zeroed in at. So let's go ahead and get away from this windy hillside that we're on here and get back inside, and I'll show you guys a closer look here at the Sightmark, what is this called? The Core Shot A-Spec reflex sight. So I'll see you guys back inside. All right, we're back inside with the Sightmark Core Shot A-Spec reflex sight. What's the difference between a red dot, holographic, and reflex sight? I have no idea, but for the slightly above average guy that I am, in more ways than one, ladies, I don't think it's something that I really need to worry about. This optic here emits a bright, relatively crisp red dot onto a large viewing window, and that's good enough for me. I'm just being honest here. Mama didn't raise no operator. But let's get right into the details of this reflex sight. So first, let's just start with the price. I recently saw it come down a significant amount on Amazon, and I think I snatched it for like $127, and that's with the QD mount. I think just the A-Spec by itself, if you wanted that, if you didn't want the QD mount, I think was around $109, something like that. So the QD mount's like another $20 more. And when I say that this is good enough for me, basically what I mean is I know it has flaws. It has plenty of flaws. It's a $130 optic, for God's sakes, with a really nice QD mount. So you're not going to get top of the line quality, and you definitely shouldn't expect it. But I do really like this optic a lot so far, from what I've seen. And so let's just go ahead and go over everything that you get with the box right here. First, for starters, you do get a cap, which is nice. So you don't have to worry about messing up your, oops, I think I have the sling behind it, but messing up your optic. So you can put the cover on it when when you store it or in transportation. Actually, let's just go ahead and get some specs real quick. So just a few features real quick that I want to point out. You got your 5 MOA dot, 8 reticle brightness level, night vision compatible, and then you do have a 1 hour shut off, which is nice for, in case you accidentally leave it on. And then the slotted windage and elevation adjustments. I just want to say that those adjustments are really nice. You have really nice clicks, and they supply you with a little screwdriver to adjust the windage and elevation. But it's kind of like the stubby flathead, but it's the perfect fit for those sights. So it's nice to use this little screwdriver. But besides that, let's see here. Get a couple Allen wrenches, and then this is a sight or a mount that you can use if you just want to mount directly to a rail instead of using the riser. That riser though I think it's really nice. So I'll go ahead and explain how to take it off real fast. So it does lock, which is nice, the QD, so you don't have to worry about it rattling off, and it's on there really tight. But there's a locking tab right here, and that locking tab won't move unless you just pull it out a little bit. There you go. Then you can unfree the locking tab. I actually do have it cranked down pretty hard, or pretty tight, I should say. And I'll show you how you do that. It's actually really cool. There we go. So yeah, and that's at like the 5th brightness setting, I believe. I'm doing this like spot focusing on my camera right now, so it's kind of hard to do everything all at once. But you can see it's pretty crisp. If I turn it up more than that, so maybe I can try and do. Oop, I lost it. But yeah, so it gets really bright. However, I think there's a lot of bloom with that, with the brighter that you get. So I like to go down to, 1, which you can't even really see, and then slowly turn it up to about 5, I think, something like that. And that was good enough to see outdoors, in full sunlight. So just to show you too how you can, they thought this mount out really well. In order to tighten it, all right, I had to turn off the focus on my camera. But anyways, you just pull this right here, and it has these little notches and that little steel peg thing, and you can kind of just turn it and line it up with the different notches. Whoops. So they kind of thought of everything. I think that's where it was before. So I really like this mount. The only thing I will say is that it has these 4 legs that are very thin. And, it's really nice for taking weight off, but at the same time, it doesn't instill a lot of confidence. That being said, I don't think it's going to really ever give me that big of an issue. So yeah, you just cinch it down, and it's locked in there. It's not going anywhere. I like to mount my optics right at the front of the receiver. I forgot to shake as the buttons. So there you go. That is your brightness button. That also turns it on. And then if you hold it, it turns it off. And then that's your night vision button. I believe there's 2 night vision settings. I heard that if you have it on if you have the red dot on, like the daytime setting, and you press the night vision button, supposedly it turns it off. However, I'm not sure if that just goes into night vision or if that's actually turning it off. But either way, I just long press the brightness button, and it'll turn the optic off. Or it does also have the hour shut off, so you can just leave it on and it'll turn off after an hour. Yeah, I keep on taking this thing on and off because I do want to do one more little comparison here. So this is just like a pistol red dot or a reflex sight, and this is the Sightmark. So clearly it's much bigger than your typical what do you call it? Pistol reflex sight. And it looks a lot better on something like an AR platform. You know, so the Core Shot A-Spec I think would be really good for something like this 10.5 setup that I got right here. And let's just go over the rifle. Sorry, I almost want to use the R word. It's a pistol. Okay, so it's got a Olight. I think that's it's the Odin Mini. Even though it's a very large flashlight, that's still the Mini, which is crazy. I got a little backup flashlight right here because that Odin Mini only has one output with the pressure pad right here on top. And that one output is extremely bright. So in case I wanted to go less bright, I got one of these little guys. I do have the Magpul M-Bus sights. And speaking of these, actually, real quick, the M-Bus sights co-witness perfectly with a 1/3 lower co-witness with this mount. But yeah, that's the Palmetto State Armory nickel boron bolt. And go ahead and laugh at me for having something stupid on my desk cover like that. But it's not one of those really dumb ones. It's just a smiley face that says, "Have a nice day." Just, you know, a friendly reminder that life is actually pretty good. Especially when you have cool toys like this. Okay, calm down. It's not a toy. This is actually my main go-to-war weapon. And that's one reason why I did choose this, because I've gone with the closed emitter. I don't have it on me right now. Actually, wait. Here it is. So I had this sight on my AR before. This is the Romeo MSR, the Sig Romeo MSR. And now it's living on my M&P 1522. So I'm still using it, but for my main go-to-war weapon right here, I'm gonna try out this reflex sight for a little while. You know, I don't really plan on like crawling through dirt and hunkering down outdoors somewhere or whatever. But you know, I think that an open emitter should be fine. Especially because actually one thing I do keep is in the pistol grip. I keep Allen wrenches rolled up with a paper towel. Bounty, to be exact. None of that cheap crap. It really does make a difference. I like a good quality paper towel, like a real American. All right, so let's talk about the 36 yard zero. Most modern combat situations or self/home defense situations are well within 36 yards. Battles aren't really being fought anymore on a large open battlefield. It's a lot of room clearing, city block to block, structure to structure engagements. 36 yards may not sound far, but it's well over 100 feet. And there aren't really any rooms or hallways that are beyond that distance. So remembering all the elevations might sound sort of complicated with the 36 yard zero, but all you really have to remember to get as precise of a shot as possible is to aim slightly high for CQB, and then for all the shots that are long range, you know, the few shots that you're going to be taking long range with something like this, just aim, you know, basically just aim straight at it, because the 36 yard zero, there's supposed to be a 6-inch difference with a 16-inch barrel. I'm thinking that with this 10.5, it's probably closer to like an 8-inch difference. And yes, these are exact measurements right here. So the 36 yard zero really does make a lot of sense, even with a 10.5 inch barrel. And from the shooting footage, you saw that I got a little trigger happy, so I know it's not an exact result, but it's just my own guesstimation. So take it with a grain of salt, 55 grain in this case. But like I said earlier, I generally wouldn't be shooting this AR past 200 yards. So that's why I'm kind of going with the 7 to 8 inch group at 7 to 200 yards. There's actually a good picture that I found that shows a good visual representation of the difference in elevation. So I'll go and roll that in. But basically, at a 36 yard zero, you're looking at anything that's below the 36 yard zero, you're going to be shooting slightly low, so you want to aim slightly high. And anything that's 36 yards to 150 yards, you are going to shoot slightly high, maybe like 3 inches higher, so not really that much higher. But then once you get to 150, it starts to come back down. 200 is still slightly high from zero, but then 300, like 250, I think would probably be right on zero, and then 300 would be about 3 inches low. So that's about it. Like I said, I really do like this reflex sight right here, and I think I'm going to stick with it for a while. And this actually might be the last time that you see this pistol, because I'm about to take it on a boating trip to the middle of Lake Superior for protection against modern day lake pirates. You know, those darn swashbuckling marauders. Anyways, thanks for watching.